past which have assisted the executive director in narrowing down the field. I don't know if that's something that we should establish today. I would really like Mark's input on how you think that process would work the best.
Well, thank you for pointing that out, and I think a number of these items, I think we'll frame out the timeline after I talk to Peter about the business plans and specific steps. But the staff member question is really not a question of funding, because I think this committee has already adopted our National Heritage Area budget, which includes money for this position. I think we have to make the appropriate argument for that to happen, and that's where we're looking for the board to step in. We still need to, it's a difficult road to travel because it involves convincing the executive that it's, we should and we need an investment in our agency. And this is within a climate where no state agencies are receiving any increases in staff levels right now. So it's a difficult conversation, so we need to focus in on making that argument as compelling and as clear as possible. And that's going to be the challenge, and that's what we're going to be looking for the board to help us out with.
It's not inappropriate to mention that Mark also, in 25 words or less, your other project.
Which one? Oh, the Path Through History?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. We're working very closely with the governor's office on a statewide Path Through History program to celebrate New York's heritage resources. It's kind of like our National Heritage Area, only statewide. So they saw that I was on the payroll, and they said they figured he was a cheap employee, and he could use another job. Well, it's actually been rewarding. I've been able to work with groups from all across the state who share your passion for heritage and history. So.
I guess my question was, do we need to amend the agenda to discuss these things, or do you feel like it's okay to wait?
I would like to talk to Peter about his strategy first, and then circle back with the board members.
Have you ever considered calling a special meeting of the board? I think what you're getting at is to wait another quarter to have the board make a decision that would be very valuable to implementing the strategic plan and allowing us to move ahead. That it may be necessary to do something before the regular board meeting.
We have done that in the past, and I think we don't want to lose momentum here. So I would be in favor of it, but that's also pending my conversation with Peter to talk about what needs to happen in a public forum and what can happen more privately behind the scenes.
So we should hear more in another month or so about whether to hold a special meeting. Okay, that seems reasonable.
Speaking of momentum, I know this is a non sequitur, but I missed my opportunity earlier. Kingston has been very active since the last time you came for a meeting in Ulster County, and we just want to thank you at the Kingston Land Trust for supporting what became a very large grassroots effort to develop rail trails, and you have this vision in front of you for the Kingston Point Rail Trail. And we have a talk in City Hall on June 19th at 5:30 by Greg de la Pena about the economic impact of trails, which I think nowhere more is it evident than in Kingston that this kind of effort is gaining us a lot of visibility and positive momentum toward change in the community. So I just wanted to let you know you can pick this up on your way out, and thank you for Greenway for supporting the work we're doing in trails.
Great. All right, so no further comment on the agenda, then I will ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the combined council and conservancy. Okay, wait, sorry, you read it. Okay, good. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carried. So, Barney, I think.
Grants
Okay.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Now we're
grants minutes too.
I said for both the combined and the grants.
is it, now we're on to the council meeting, and we open the meeting by welcoming Weedy Aldrich, who is, well, first of all, he's a graduate of the Stanford of the East. Isn't that what we call it? No,
that's outrageous, Paul.
Not my
My face is crimson.
Former Army officer, but been involved with the Hudson River Valley and the Parks Department, as well. And and what, the 10th generation? Is not
Something like that, yes.
Yeah, and that, well, he's older than he looks, I guess. We were delighted to have you on board, and everything is, and so, once again, welcome to the Greenway.
I feel as though I've been the
Yes, come on, say it.
yeah, I mean, I've been out there for
A few
how many
thousand
years
miles.
has it been? 25 years. But I'm here, happy to be. Do you want me to say a word now about this afternoon?
Sure.
Okay. I expect to be this afternoon in the audience at the New York State Court of Appeals, which is our highest court up in Albany, when the court hears the oral arguments on two cases that have been linked together for the purposes of appeal that I think may prove to be extremely interesting, especially to the members of the council, because it pitches local government, in this case, two town governments, one near Cornell, one near Ithaca, and one near Cooperstown, against the extractive industries representatives involved in the fracking business. And it turns on the question of whether local government, under our laws in New York State, which is a home rule state, will continue to have the authority to regulate and protect the land uses and the environment in their communities. Of course, we won't hear for many months what the court rules, but the oral arguments will be very interesting, and this could become one of the most significant decisions, and a decision that in turn could help to decide that very specific issue about fracking in the southern tier of New York State. So, to be continued.
Thank you.
Thank you, Winnie. And of course, that's home rule, which we're part of. And the comment I've heard before is that home rule is likely to prevail in this decision, as I think I did in the appellate division, right?
Yes.
And anyway, welcome aboard, Win, as always. Now Mark, please, we have return to your agenda, the Greenway community grants.
All right. Well, thank you, Chairman. Now we get to give away a little bit of money, which is always nice and makes people happy. The first project we have on the agenda, under agenda item 5, number C, is the Dutchess County with the town of Clinton in partnership with the Northern Dutchess Alliance. It's funding for a driving tour and enhancements to the driving tour that will allow visitors to the Northern Dutchess area of the Hudson Valley experience more fully everything that it has to offer. I think this initiative also more fully incorporates agritourism, which that region of the Hudson Valley has in spades. Tourism is big business in the Hudson River Valley and across New York State. It's $4.5 billion generated in the Hudson Valley per year. So it's not anything to think is somehow not real economic development. Complementing this revised driving tour is going to be a website that will allow visitors to do some trip planning. Here today are a number of folks from Dutchess County. Melanie Moore is here from the Northern Dutchess Alliance. Mary Kay Verba is the Executive Director of Dutchess County Tourism, and Will Tatum is the Dutchess County Historian. So, Melanie, do you want to say a few words about the project? You can stand back there, it's fine.
Well, we're very happy to receive this funding so that we can take what was previously developed under tourism, which were driving tours throughout the whole county. We're going to be focusing on the ones that are already established in Northern Dutchess, and we're looking to promote agritourism by connecting to a lot of the beverage distillery operations that are popping up in that Northern Dutchess region. I'm also on the Rhinebeck Planning Board. There are currently 3 proposals before us to develop upscale tourist housing, residential, hotel accommodation, possibly a 4th coming in. So there's a lot going on in Northern Dutchess and the Northern Dutchess Alliance, which is an organization that brings together the 10 municipalities in Northern Dutchess to promote intermunicipal cooperation. I'm very pleased to be working on this with county planning, county tourism, county historian. So we'll be reporting back to you on our progress, and thank you for your support.
Thank you very much. Mary Kay, how does this fit within the picture of Dutchess County tourism?
Well, it helps us to enhance the products that we have, and there's more and more interest, of course, in agritourism. It's a major driver, and this will also help us to enhance our trips with Metro North. We are including a new itinerary, and this will help us to bring that forth. Since we've started our Metro North agritourism program, we've brought over 7,000 people up from the city by Metro North to our farms. They're spending beyond their train ticket over $80 per person whenever they visit our small farm, so it's become a real economic driver, and this will really help us to enhance that.
That's great. And the amount for that grant is $9,500. The next one on the agenda is the town of Fort Anne up in Washington County for the old Champlain Canal Lock 17 trail. Most of us that are from further south in the Hudson River Valley don't really consider that far north to be part of our valley, but indeed it is. Our area goes from Lake Champlain to the Battery in New York City. This particular trail segment is a part of our trail planning for that region of the Hudson Valley. This fills a critical gap in that trail network, connects the downtown to a new public park to an existing trail link. The proposed funding for that is $9,500. I know Carl Beard has been involved in the trail planning for the Champlain Canalway Trail as the advisor for them on behalf of the National Park Service Rivers and Trails Program. Anything to say about the project in the Champlain Canal, Carl?
Yeah, thanks. That's the basic message. But I worked for 3 years with communities up and down the Champlain Canal corridor. And I have to say, Fort Anne is a little island of opportunity between a couple of more challenging sections. And I think, as was described earlier, this will be a catalytic project, linking that community to the waterways and to the canal park there. And I think it's going to leverage bigger money in a few years once this gets done. So, speaking on behalf of my previous friends and colleagues there, thank you.
Thank you, Carl. The recommended amount for that one is $9,500. The next one is the more traditional Greenway grant. It's for a zoning ordinance update. This is for the village of Hoosick Falls up in Rensselaer County. We were talking about it before, but if you ever go on Route 2 towards Vermont, there's a great bar called the Mannequin. Stop there for a pint and you won't regret it.
The bars of the Hudson Valley, man.
That's another catalytic project, Peter. We'll do a tour.
If it ever gets done.
Yeah. We'll do a tour. This one actually comes out of an interesting concept. It is a joint town and village marketing plan. So they understand how a zoning ordinance can impact the marketing of a town, not only in terms of quality of life factors, but also the attractive force for businesses. They haven't updated their town zoning the village zoning ordinance since 1977, so it's long overdue. Which is why we're recommending $9,500 for the project. And Linda, do you have any comments on this?
I'm going to be working with them and their consultant, and there's a lot of uses that we have nowadays that we never thought about in 1977. So, and at that point when it was written, it was a highly industrial village. There's still industry in there, but they're re-looking at what in the world they can be in the future. They've got a lot of beautiful buildings and things like that that are vacant. So it'll be a good way of helping them look at what they are and prepare for the future.
That's great. That's the best we can hope for from a zoning ordinance. Thank you, Linda. The next one is the Village of Irvington in Westchester County. This is for a Tiffany Trail tourism program. They have a lot of Tiffany windows in and around the Village of Irvington. Tiffany windows are glorious pieces of art. Most of them are located in places and houses of worship. And this will essentially curate their assets in the Village of Irvington. The Greenway through the National Heritage Area Program has a similar curated exhibit for the entire Hudson River Valley that we are and have been for the past year and a half poised to announce. But our program includes about 20 sites in and around the Hudson River Valley, and I think this project will do well to complement what we've already worked on in terms of Tiffany windows. The amount for this project that we're recommending is $2,500 for research that will help curate the exhibit.
Thank you, Mark. Now we need...
One more. We have one more. Sarah added one that's not on your agenda, but you should all have the resolution in front of you. This is for a project called Behold New Lebanon. It's a grant that's sponsored by Columbia County on behalf of the town of New Lebanon and a number of other partners. This will be a heritage tourism project, an agritourism project in the town of New Lebanon. It will seek to essentially create experiences for people and connect them with the heritage industries, the agriculture, the crafts of people in and around New Lebanon. New Lebanon, of course, is at the eastern border of the Hudson River Valley, borders with the Berkshires. This initiative is going to hopefully draw some people out of the Berkshires and into the Hudson River Valley. And in support of that, the Greenway is recommending $5,000 for that project.
Okay. And good luck. And it, now I'd like to, that's it, right?
That's it.
A single motion, Mr. Elliott, a second?
Second.
Second, Talon? Okay, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, all right?
I need
It's
to
a-
abstain.
It's a very good.
Abstain from Huzik?
It's a very good group, and it, now, Sarah, it's yours.
Okay, so now we move on to the Greenway Conservancy and call to order. And we wanted to welcome Cindy Lanzetta as a new grants committee member. I think she wasn't able to attend, but in absentia, it's great to have her. And then we'll move on to the joint resolution to support two consolidated funding applications, CFAs. One is for the Hudson River Line mobile app, and the other is for the Hudson River Valley Greenway trail gap analysis. Mark, would you talk
Sure.
about them a little bit?
Thank you, Sarah. Well, wasting no time in starting to thinking about the implementation of this and building on Jeff's comment, we had it typed in. We didn't coordinate before this meeting, but we've been looking to NYSERDA in addition to other funding sources through the CFA for these two projects. The first one we applied for last year for the Hudson River Line mobile app and were unsuccessful. That's a partnership project between Scenic Hudson, the Greenway, and Metro North Railroad. It will essentially provide an on-the-fly interpretive experience from Grand Central to Poughkeepsie using your smartphone. We have provided some funding through the National Heritage Area to match whatever grant that we may receive and to entice state funders to come in with that. We hope to be more successful than we were last year. And the next one is the Hudson River Valley Greenway Trail Gap Analysis. This is a project that directly comes out of our strategic planning. Should we secure funding for this, I think we can make a good argument that a lot of the money to build the trails is going to be federal money. So it would be a really wise investment of state dollars to do the planning. And so we hope that the state buys that argument as well.
How much are you asking?
We're going to be asking for $90,000 for the mobile application. And I still have to call the trail planning consultants to get the final number on the trail gap analysis. But I think it would be at least $250,000.
Mark,
Yes.
on your mobile app along the Hudson River, the Trails and Rails program on the National Park Service runs a docent program, and you might tie in with that in some way to show that you've picked up their information. And since I'm a docent on that, I can send you some.
That'd be great. Thank you. Any comments, questions? This is a resolution just approving us to apply for the credit funds.
So if there are no other, then we'll call for a motion. Second? Stefan, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, that motion is carried. Great, I know. Okay, so then we just have authorization for bank signatories. Do we need any?
Just a motion and a second and a vote, because the resolutions are provided by the banks.
Oh, okay. So we are making a motion to approve.
To adopt the resolutions for the 4 people listed as signatories, which would be Sarah as the acting chair, Jennifer Schwartz-Berkey as the secretary, Kevin Burke as the treasurer, and Mark as the acting director.
Okay, so can we have a motion?
So moved.
Sally, second?
Second.
We actually need one conservancy, 2 conservancy.
We need 2
Oh, okay.
conservancy
Thank you.
members.
Okay, I'll do it.
So Jane, yes. All right, and all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, so that's done. And then we just have one Greenway trail designation in the town of Haverstraw. Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, talk briefly about it. Rockland County has been a great partner in the development of the Greenway Trail. Their planning staff, Arlene Miller, and everyone down there has been really enthusiastic about spreading the good news about the Greenway Trail. This is another example of that. This is in the village of Haverstraw. It's a 2.3-mile section of trail that connects to a downtown, provides public access to the Hudson River. It's the kind of trail that the Greenway is proud to be associated with.
Great. And so, again, we need a motion. Stefan in a second.
It has to
Kevin.
be conservancy.
Conservancy.
Conservancy, so
Okay.
I'm conservancy.
conservative.
You're conservancy,
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Conservative.
And then all in favor?
You're conservancy.
Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion is carried. Great, so that's the conservancy business. And then we would move on to the National Heritage Area.
Very well done, very well done. We do this again. Mark, now let me see, we're calling the Heritage Area meeting to order. And it, we of course welcome Sally back as if you haven't really left. Because you really go back to our, we're going to stop for the night. It was several presidents ago, several Bushes. And it, we won't talk about that either, but the, anyway, welcome Sally, and it's wonderful. In Dutchess County, there's a tradition of good government, and you represent that. You do it very, very well.
Thank you very much.
So, yeah. Even though you sue us,
Especially.
that's right. Well, every other year. Is it, all right, now, okay. Now, path through history, do you know?
Well, just Mark, I mean, but I'll just say, I just wanted to make sure people know of this. Mark will talk about it more, but it's such an incredibly wonderful event that has really blossomed, and I think, you know, it has great history to it through the Heritage Weekend that was started, what was that, maybe?
2009.
2009. That was an initiative of the
Centennial.
Centennial. And to see it really blossom like this is, and to have the governor take it on, and it just, it seems that, you know, I know from a state historic site perspective, there's just been a ton of publicity about it, encouraging us to add our activities. I think these 2 weekends will be filled with activities, and I really encourage the board to participate. I think it adds another level to our engagement when we can say that we've gone to one event. You know, it'd be great to go to 5, 10, whatever, but even if you can just go to one event, so that you can see from the ground up what we're doing and what our funds are actually helping pay for. So that's my spiel, but Mark, you may want to.
Well, thank you, Sarah, and I think that really encapsulates it. I want to point out that Sarah came up with the original idea for the Heritage Weekend, and now it's grown, and the governor has embraced it, so it was a wonderful idea, Sarah. Path Through History Weekends.
Wait a minute, let's celebrate. We needed to be reminded, though.
Yes. Path Through History Weekends, as of yesterday, includes over 330 events across the state. So it's an amazing showcase of the diversity of our heritage resources in the state. And like no other time that I've ever been aware of, the state is really promoting its heritage resources. It's fully a part of what I Love New York is promoting. And this is really an effort to draw attention to all the organizations that are protecting and sharing our history throughout New York State. But the governor realizes that we have the best story to tell in New York State, but we need a little more help telling that story. And this Path Through History program is really about connecting people with the history. Because he also knows that heritage tourists spend more and they stay longer when they travel. Heritage tourism already generates $5 billion in New York's economy. And if the tourism growth last year is any indication, that this modest investment in heritage tourism is making a difference. Tourism grew last year, what was it, $40 billion? That was the number? Somewhere in there?
Somewhere in there.
It was an astronomical figure, but the investment that the government is making in tourism, particularly heritage tourism, is paying dividends significantly. So June 7th and 8th and June 14th and 15th, check out paththroughhistoryweekends.com. Our staff, in partnership with the Greater Hudson Heritage Network, are administering that program on behalf of I Love New York. The next one, of course, is the Hudson River Valley Ramble. Can you believe the Hudson River Valley Ramble is 15 years old? This year will be its 15th anniversary, and every year it keeps on getting bigger and bigger and better and better. I did, we have a couple new interns, and they did forget the t-shirt count. But I encourage all of you to pick up a t-shirt so that when you're doing your yard work in the weekends, you're also promoting the Hudson Valley Ramble. It's a modest thing that you can do as a board member, but it's important nonetheless. Another important thing that you can do as a board member for the Ramble is help us get sponsorships. There's a variety of sponsorship packages available. Sponsors will receive get a lot of exposure through being associated with the Ramble, whether it's a logo on a t-shirt, feature on our website, editorial, you name it, but we have a package for them. While we are continuing to fund the Hudson River Valley Ramble through the National Heritage Area Program, we really think that this is an opportunity to monetize and make it self-sustaining. And I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and we can certainly use your help. So,
Mark?
Yes.
Are there any companies that have become multiple-time sponsors?
Not multiple time sponsors. We have obviously the Hudson River Estuary Program, which every year comes in with $5,000 for us as a partner. But we haven't been successful at retaining sponsors, which is takes a lot of time.
It does. So yeah, again, if each one of us can just think of anybody in the local community, in our community, who would be willing. I mean, I think it starts at $250, so certainly we should be able to at least try to be ambassadors and give them this opportunity to be sponsors, because it's just such a great program.
Thank you, Sarah. The sponsorship information should be in your board packet. But if you need it, I will be more than happy to send it to you and come with you to the meeting. The next item on the agenda is Panther History Training Partnership, and this is a training program that we did in partnership with the Regional Panther History Work Group. Mary Kay Verba is the chair of that work group in the Mid-Hudson Valley. It includes Hudson Valley communities in addition to Sullivan County. Linda Cooper, as the Regional Director for State Parks, is also heavily involved in framing out this training initiative. And consistent with what we want to see in the National Heritage Area and what the Panther History wants to help encourage is better storytelling at sites and also better connections between sites. So we think we accomplished that through this training. We were able to engage just about 100 staff members and volunteers from historic sites throughout the region, representing, I think, 60 historic sites in the region, to help them think about their interpretive programs, think about their offerings, and thinking about better ways to tell their story and connect it with people. So we had 4 training programs at the beginning of May, and we think it was relatively successful. The Panther History Work Group kicked in $20,000. We kicked in $20,000. We're still engaging with the trainees. We provided them with some takeaway materials, and we're also going to be re-engaging them to make sure the conversation continues so that they can build on what they started to talk about during the training sessions.
Mark, before you go into your report, we might want to hear from Colonel Johnson, and most of you have seen or subscribed, and I hope many do subscribe, to the Hudson River Valley Review, which is our publication. Jim, where the heck are you? Yes, right there. Explain a little bit about how you put this together and what it is and why it is.
Yes, sir. This is our journal offering from the Hudson River Valley Institute. We solicit articles. We're only as good as our authors, and we've continued to get good articles, so we continue to have a very interesting review. The cover is Dutch settlement in the Hudson River Valley. Jaap Jacobs came over from Amsterdam and gave our Handel lecture last fall. He converted that lecture into this article, the cover article. The fall should be landscape architecture. There was a conference here at New Paltz. We were working to convert those papers into chapters, articles for the next issue. So we hopefully will cast a light on landscape architecture, which started in Newburgh with A.J. Browning and Box and all the others who did their work here. So please subscribe. We're trying to keep this going. I passed around another piece of paper, a little card. Hudson River Valley Institute at Marist College is sponsoring the conference on New York State history from 12 to 14 June at Marist. We've been able to put together 9 panels. Mary Kay, Will, Benny are on one. Mark is on that same panel.
Same panel.
So we're going to promote heritage tourism with a panel at this conference, for example. So we've overlaid 9 panels on the Hudson River Valley over the normal panels that are presented by scholars who submit papers for the annual conference by New York State History Association. So that will be at Marist. We were able, with the Park Service's help, to incorporate Ken Burns on Thursday at the Wallace Center. Will be presenting his documentary on the Roosevelts. So we've been able to embrace that presentation along with another session by the National Park Service in the morning. And then we have Libby O'Connell, who's Chief Historian for History Channel, as a keynote address on Thursday. Harold Holzer, the scholar of Abraham Lincoln, will speak on Friday. And Douglas Brinkley of Rice University, a well-known scholar, will also, who's been a scholar in residence at Marist, will present on the Roosevelts in the Hudson River Valley. So we've got a lot of things going on. We welcome your attendance at the conference, and we definitely, as Barney said, want you to subscribe to the Hudson River Valley.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. And since Jim, because he's a graduate of West Point, and he came back and taught at West Point, and didn't want to leave the Valley, and we're all richer for that decision, James.
Well, you said you were going to call out the National Guard.
Okay, Mark, you're on.
Thank you, Colonel. That sounds like a world-class conference, so I'm looking forward to attending.
That's one of next week.
12th through the 14th of June, yes, it's very
Next
close.
Thursday.
Just a couple items, because I know we're over time. I wanted to mention the pictures that you saw before, and the obnoxious picture of me was from a Bard Rock, a Hudson River Greenway Water Trail designation at Bard Rock. Thanks to Scott Keller and Carl Beard for making that designation possible. This is the first water trail site designation at a National Park Service property. This trail.
Yeah.
At the Roosevelt Vanderbilt sites down in High Park. Bard Rock is at Vanderbilt. This is the 104th site on the Hudson River Greenway Water Trail. So it was a great event. We had participation from Senator Gibson and representatives from from Assemblymember Barrett's office and Supervisor Moore's office, and kayakers from the Hudson River Water Trail Association and the Paddle Pals of Kingston. Thank you for coming. That was great. One other press event that we have coming up on Thursday is with Mayor Sheehan of Albany and Congressman Tonko celebrating grants that we awarded last board meeting in March, Heritage Development Grants. We're convening with 8 grantees in Albany City Hall to talk a little bit about heritage tourism and the importance of their various projects. Since we last met, 65 our partner historic sites in the National Heritage Area have come on board again to participate in our National Park Service Passport Program. As a National Heritage Area, and our partner sites and affiliated sites are eligible to participate in that passport stamp program. 15 new sites have been added this round. We only had 50 last time, and this time we bumped it up to 65, so that's a great success. Millions of people participate in the passport stamp program, so we hope it's going to be an additional incentive for people to visit our sites in the Hudson River Valley. One other thing I wanted to mention before we go is just how thankful I am to have such a great staff. Now, Beth Campachero wasn't able to be here today, but she does everything to make sure that you have a good time here, organizes the venue, and so many other things that are just so valuable to me personally. Scott Keller, who runs all of our finances and makes it possible for me to make sense of the numbers and make sure we have enough money to spend, and stops me when we don't. So I definitely appreciate that. And joining us today, we have 2 new interns from the planning program at UAlbany. Dan Jeanson back there and Tristan Lowry back there. Today was their trial by fire, and I think they did a great job. They're also going to be highly employable in about a year and a half. When they graduate. All right, with that, thank you all for coming. Oh, Stefan.
Did we have 2 landmark sites to nominate? Saugerties Lighthouse?
Yes, the National Heritage Area Management Committee after this.
Oh,
After this we'll be talking about.
I want to nominate Saugerties.
Okay. Well, we know you all you'd like to play favorites, Stefan. But anyways, thank you all very much for coming, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Mark, May,
Sure, Jerry.
Before everybody leaves, I just want to make one quick announcement.
Jerry, what do you have to say?
Historic Hudson River towns
We are actively working right now with a small delegation of friends from Sing Sing Prison to submit a CFA application this year and try to nominate to the Constitutional Council that the creation of a historic prison museum at Sing Sing facility be established. We are doing a kickoff event on June 13th. It's a fundraiser to provide the local match that will be necessary for the CFA application. We do have in the wings $1 million secured by Assemblywoman Sandy Gallup for the capital project, if it does come about. But the purpose right now is to get money to take a 2009 feasibility study and have it updated. We just think that it would be a tremendous benefit to tourism in the region. The spin-off effects would be amazing. The spending, even back here, back in 2009, with only a minimum number of visitors, was estimated to be in excess of about $26 million to the state. So we would, we're going to make this application. We'll send an invitation out. We'd love to have as many people show up at this event as possible on the 13th of June. It'll be held at the Ossining Library, and we look forward to everybody's support in the future as this works its way through the process.
Thanks so much, Jerry.
That's next Friday evening.
Next Friday, yes.
Thanks very much. I have the new journal for the album, so you can trunk my car if you don't want. It has all the clubs and
So if it's on the calendar,
Being a chair, right?
Peabody, thanks for coming. Ready, good to see you. How's Dennis? I think it may be smart.
Because they don't really know the money they have. Some of it is they can't really allocate it. My time, they're called from No, I mean, it's for the Zoom meeting. It's I guess that's how they, I guess that's one way to sort of,
Hey, Mark. I'm going to see if I can get the Downey Film Center to sponsor the grant. Okay, great. It's a nonprofit theater. It's a small theater. It's a family business. And, so that's a small level of exposure. Yeah, absolutely. So 250 is what you mentioned is the low end, but if you just send me the information, I'll see. We've got a board meeting June 21st, and I'll try to get the board to set my board. Definitely, nice appreciate it. Oh, yeah, great. No, it'd be great. We're right in Hudson River, like right in the waterfront, so it'd be nice for us too. So I'm gonna try
Literally every little bit helps.
Yeah.
And we need to start building a track record of getting sponsors in,
I'd like to see the Film Center do that, so it's named it for Downing, so it should do that.
Good, thank you.
Trails and Rails program is really amazing. I use your brochures. For it because it's the best map. I'd really love to see that app, but I think that you're doing it from New York City to
I'm packaging this as like a phase one. From Metro North's perspective, they only care about going to Poughkeepsie. But we did a hard copy brochure for Amtrak, the Windows in History.
Yeah.
So it's like essentially we're adapting that into a new project. And
a new product.
Yeah, the Rails to Trails program, when the governor brought his team up for the Hudson Valley Wine Festival last year, he chartered a Metro North train for the VIPs and took it up to Rhinebeck, or Rhinecliff, and I got the Rails to Trails volunteers and the National Park Service folks to give them interpretation. So I thought that was going to prime the pump for the app. I was like, it's like that program that you had on the train